Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another segment of Warm Yogurt on Your Back. I am Xavier,
And I am Mr. J.
and this particular one is all Mr. J. He got to pick the topic. He's going to blindside me with everything, and I'm going to try to allow my non-artist brain to try and catch up. So take it away, Mr. J.
Well, the discussion I actually want to have tonight is based off of an article that's going to be featured in the next issue of the Septenary Strain, and that is graffiti. Is it art, or is it crime, or is it both? So I just kind of want to present it to a non-artist mentality, for all intents and purposes, to catch another opinion on it. So,
Yeah, because I'm an author, and I still don't look at an author as being an artist.
oh, I do. Absolutely.
I
An author
don't.
is an artist. I mean, you're creating something out of nothing, creating beautiful worlds that is open to interpretation by the readers. I mean, you wrote it one way. People are
You make
viewing
things
it
so
in a whole
beautiful.
another. Yeah, it's a lot of fucking nonsense that I'm fucking spitting right now. But
No, I can agree with that. I just don't see. To me, I see art as brushstrokes, pen to paper, things like that. And
no. Musicians, authors, painters, pencil, tattoo artists, they're all artists in my book.
even modern artists.
Fuck modern artists.
Okay, back to what you're talking about.
I'm going to shit on a canvas and sell it for $17 million.
And people
No,
are stupid enough to
fuck
pay
that.
for it.
But yeah, let's get into graffiti.
Okay,
Xavier,
graffiti.
well, what are your thoughts? Do you feel that graffiti is criminal?
You're talking to a guy who absolutely hates our penal system. Like
Right.
almost everything is a felony, and if you get a felony on your record, you lose your rights to Second Amendment, to voting rights, things like that. So, from that standpoint, like almost everything is criminal to me, what the government does. But as far as I look at it more as no, not really. If it's on public property, most of it is ugly garbage nonsense to me. But when it comes to private property, I believe private property has absolute rights.
Well, with that being said, public property would be construed as buildings, train cars, bridges.
Yeah.
Now, all of these things are actually owned by someone or some entity,
Yeah.
technically making it private property, so to speak. Do you still feel that it would be criminal to tag a train car that's owned by an independent train company?
Well, I see trains all up and down the freaking railway where I live, owned by BNSF, which is a Canadian company. They literally somehow make their own laws here. But I find the graffiti all over the trains garbage and disgusting. Like, I don't see art in what they do. So
Do
but I can't say criminal
well,
because
but with that being said, though, what makes it garbage and shit to you? Is it the quality of the piece? Is it
no. It's a bunch of idiots literally tagging, just writing their name over top of each other.
so you're talking about just like quick scribbles, not like an actual
No, these guys, you can tell,
graffiti
like, they
piece of
even
art?
have freaking stencils out there.
That's not a real fucking tagger. I'm sorry.
Not disagreeing. But I'm saying, you can tell a lot of this shit is not done by spray paint. This is done by pure stencil, the lines are set perfectly, and you can see that just driving down the highway as the train goes by. And it's a jumbled mess. When I look at a mural that's done by a tagger, it's beautiful.
So, like, a single word done in an artistic fashion on a wall is considered shit to you, but if it's mural,
no.
it's better?
No. If a name put on a wall that you just posed, which is done artistically, that's not shit to me. But whenever you have 500 names with Yo Rick Rod and Dodger from Detroit and shit like that, all on top of each other, and they're all jumbled together in what is maybe a 20-foot freaking square of a train car, but they're all like within a 5-foot parameter of just touching each other. It's crisscross jumbled nonsense to me. That's not art. To me,
that is like dogs pissing on a tree.
I know.
It's taggers marking their territory.
It's their way of going to war without the violence.
Basically, I mean, it's an artistic expression of, look, this is my shit, and you know, you see a lot more of that in like brick and mortar situations rather than train cars, because it's different turf and shit like that. I don't even, honestly, I've been out of that fucking game for so long that I couldn't even tell you what the fuck people are calling it nowadays. But I mean, I've done my fair share of bridge work, and I find a week later some jerk off like just scribbled their fucking name over top of my artistic piece, and it's like, you fucking douchebag. Now I've got to fucking redo this. Just for some other douchebag to scribble their fucking name over the redone piece.
And the circle continues.
Right. But my thing is what I'm proposing to you is, you stated that, yes, that quick scribbling of a fucking name, the compression, the laid over top of somebody else's work, you've stated that was shit to you, and I could be in agreement with you on that. Scribbling is one thing, tagging is a whole fucking other. But what I'm proposing to you is the criminality.
Yeah, and once again, I say to you from my own perspective, I think our penal code is shit to begin with, so no. I think the worst case that should happen to a tagger, honestly, if you're going to get busted, give you a fucking fine and that's it. And the fine should be how much a coat of fucking paint costs.
It seems fair.
I don't think that your name should be put in a fucking database. I don't think that you should have to spend the rest of your life where a cop's like, that dude's a tagger, we're going to question him every single time we find a new tag. Come on.
Well,
And
in all fairness, the graffiti culture was huge in the fucking 80s and 90s.
Right.
It's dwindled off since then. I mean, now, and this is what fucks me up, because this is where it takes away from the artistic value as an artist. Is taggers are actually being contracted to paint murals. And to me, when you're getting paid to do something, it takes a lot of the heart and fucking soul out of your piece.
Yeah.
It really does, from an artist standpoint. I mean, I've done my fair share of contract artwork, both on paper and on brick. And it does take a lot away. You feel restrained when you're being paid to do something.
Well, yeah, I look at it kind of like, I'm in agreement with you on that. I look at it kind of like the biker club mentality. You know, they're the 3%. They're the outlaws. They're the renegades. They don't want to be a part of society. That's their bread and butter. That's who they are. And then you got other bikers who are like, we protect bullied kids. You know, I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking that. But it's not the same. You can't really call yourself fucking bikers. I'm sorry.
I don't think it's even called bikers anymore. I think it's motorcycle enthusiasts.
Okay.
If we're
But here's
going
something
to,
that we,
if we're going to be PC about it.
I mean, here's something that we absolutely will disagree on. I do not believe taxpayer money, public funds at all, should ever go to any art. None.
I agree with you to an extent on
Okay.
that. If the taxpayers' funds are going into creating a piece of art, all of said taxpayers should have a say on what said piece of art is.
But that's never the case.
No, it's one person sitting on a fucking throne of dollar bills that makes that fucking decision.
But even then,
And that, at which it's that in and of itself is criminal.
yeah,
But like,
we have to constantly raise taxes every year because we can't afford the things that we do, but yet all of a sudden we have all this money for artwork and things like that. It's ridiculous.
you know, they're calling it the beautification processes.
I call it theft.
Yeah. But like, you know, back in the 90s, when I was big into it, I would have given my left nut for a government official to
commission you to do a piece.
to commission me to do a piece. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have even took fucking payment for it. It was just a chance to freely fucking tag.
Right.
You know, like I said though, getting into the whole you have to do what they want.
Right.
That's what takes it away.
Yeah.
Um,
Because it's about freedom, as I understand it, correct?
yes, it's a freedom. I mean, it's an expression. It's a freedom
Of yourself.
Right. It's I mean, just like any painting or drawing that I would do, it's me expressing myself as an artist.
So as a non-tagger, I have to ask. I feel like I'm giving an interview here. Just to get into your mind, you know what you're doing is currently illegal. I don't fucking care. I don't buy that shit, but that's what they look at it as.
Right.
You do it anyway. So it's your own outlaw, your own freedom, your own expression, your renegade version of yourself saying, you know, fuck the man.
Mhm.
Right? So why would anyone want to switch around and immediately get paid by the man?
Like I explained in a prior episode, it's that whole worthless piece of shit side hustle thing.
Right.
You know, it's like you're actually, I mean, you're fucking selling out is what it is.
Mhm.
You're basically shifting gears and completely neglecting your belief system as an independent artist is what happens. It just, that in and of itself is fucking criminal in my book.
I'm not disagreeing.
Because
It's selling out your principles.
yeah, I mean, it's like basically selling your soul to the proverbial devil.
Yeah.
It's you're giving up who you are. You're giving up your freedom and your expression to conform to what somebody else wants.
Mhm.
It's taking away that chunk of you as an artist.
Right.
Now, where you and I are in agreement is graffiti on private property. I completely disagree with. I would not tag somebody's garage door or the side of their house or their car. It's disrespectful.
That was whenever I was, and I can say this because it's been years, I was a cat burglar whenever I was a teenager. I never touched a private person's home. Not just because they might have guns, but because they earned that shit. As opposed to you stealing from a company, they have freaking insurance, and then they lie and tell the cops that you stole more than what you actually stole. I actually watched news reports, and it was insulting.
I mean, and honestly, I mean, I could stand on both sides of the fence with this. Even defacement of public property is wrong, but it's less wrong, if you get what I'm saying.
I don't look at this as a right or wrong thing. I really don't. It's tagging. You're not going out there and fucking destroying someone's car or a police officer's vehicle because it's parked and he's off duty. You're not doing it. That's not the same thing. Right or wrong, when it comes to tagging, it's paint that can be cleaned off.
Right.
Or painted over. It's not a thing. It's never been a thing for me. What I always was fascinated about the tagging culture, because you said it was big in the 80s and the 90s, was even in our movies back then, the subways were filled with, as far as I was concerned, junk. I mean, it was fucking ugly, horrible, and people thought that was a good idea. They thought that was...
I mean, I'm glad to see that they stepped up the artistic value.
Mm-hmm.
Some. Like, I've seen some gorgeous, gorgeous graffiti pieces.
Right.
That were immediately covered up by the government.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, as an artist, I could have easily just went out and bought a 4x8 sheet of drywall and tagged that shit. But, you know what? I didn't, because I wanted people to see it.
Yeah.
And that's what it came down to, is I wanted people to see it. And
yeah, you were doing something you were not supposed to be doing, and you were literally putting your soul, your spirit, into something.
Right.
You were naked to the world, and you wanted them to see it.
Right. I mean, I've been to a lot of big cities that I've just walked the streets and looked at the graffiti.
Mm.
Like, I've sat by train rails just to wait for the train to come by, just to be able to see the graffiti on it. I've tried to take pictures of it, you know, shit like that, because as an artist, it's inspiring to me. Some of it's like walking into a museum and staring at a Dali painting. Mm. I could literally walk into an art museum and stare at a Dali painting for an hour and still not completely understand what's going through that man's head. But at the same time, it inspires me in so many ways to create something new. And it's the same with graffiti. I've stared at pieces of graffiti just over and over again. I've driven past the same piece of graffiti every day for the past 15 years. And it still, to this day, it's just like, it grabs you and says, do something. I mean, fuck conformity and just do what you want. And you want something, go out and fucking grab it. Just
don't ask permission.
Right. Don't let anyone stand in your fucking way. And it's an inspiration to me.
I think the problem with tagging, at least from my perspective, once again, I'm not a tagger in any way, is that beauty is subjective.
Absolutely.
And what I see that I would immediately want to paint over versus what you see, where you see what that artist was thinking. Was he taking a poop and wiping his butt before he sprayed that last portion on there? Meanwhile, I'm thinking to myself that he used the poop that he wiped from his butt to make that painting. You know, it's
right.
And that's I think that's where a lot of people, no matter what side you're on this one, I don't think there's actually common ground because it's simply subjective. I don't think anyone can thoroughly agree on, hey, we should all agree that one looks beautiful, we should keep it. But that one's fucking ugly as shit, we should all get rid of that. No, because there's always going to be that one person that says, I like that one, even though it's 2 lines with a squiggly in the middle of it.
Right.
And
it's... Yeah, I see what you're saying. You know, some people, like, one of my favorite paintings of all time is by Francis Bacon. It's called A Figure with Meat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Some people are repulsed by this fucking painting, horrified by it, and it is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful pieces of art I've ever seen in my life. And it's served as a pivotal inspiration point to some of my work, both actually creatively as paintings or drawings, into my writing, as, with scripting and whatnot.
Hmm.
It's actually served a purpose and an inspiration. And, I could be that one person out of the 10 million that's not horrified or disgusted by this painting, but all it's going to take is some Bible thumper to go, hey, that is blah, 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 and okay, now we have to take it out of the fucking museum.
Yep.
For the world to never fucking see again.
Yep.
Which
is dumb.
It is.
I mean, ignoring modern art because it's not art. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree with you on that.
Like books, paintings, art, period, needs to be seen. And if it's in a museum, no one has the right to take that down because someone's offended by it. That's the point of art. It's supposed to spark emotion. It's supposed to get your blood pumping, to make you feel something.
So you're basically giving validity to graffiti.
I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just saying it's really subjective. Like you said, what you might see as beautiful, I might look at it as just fucking horrible horseshit. And has
Right.
no actual validity on our society. But then there's other tags that I'll see that I'll be like, that is fucking gorgeous. And I want to put police lines, do not cross over it. Now I want to guard it with my dog and things like that, because some artwork I just find so beautiful that it can actually touch the soul.
Absolutely. And it could
then
be something as simple as a word done artistically
right.
to an entire mural.
But whenever I see Chico, who didn't even bother to put a line down through the C to go underneath the rest of his name, that's not art to me. That's Chico being a dumbass and lazy. And
Yeah.
Chico needs to have his stuff covered up.
And I agree with you on that. Like the simple scribbles,
Mm-hmm.
I've never been a fan of. I mean, it's good. It's good if you're using like paper and a Sharpie
Mm-hmm.
for scribbles, just as a font.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let it slide for that. But artistically, for a wall,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely fucking not. I mean, take the time, put your fucking soul into it. I mean, honestly, you are risking the legality of it.
Well, my thing with
Make it fucking worth it.
Whenever I say that I don't think that taxpayer money should fund artists, period, I do mean that. But at the same time, I really believe that the government should say, you know what? That's a rundown fucking building. No one's doing anything with it. We give you free and total immunity. Light that thing up. Make it beautiful.
Well, prime example, thank you for bringing that up, is I don't know the exact details because, honestly, my brain is fucking slipping lately. But there was a condemned building that the owner gave permission to graffiti artists to tag. It was basically a graffiti mecca.
Mm.
And they covered every fucking square inch of this building with graffiti. And before they had a chance to take pictures or, be in touch with their piece of work for one last time, he gave them no prior warning. He came in and whitewashed every fucking thing. Covered every fucking thing up. And now he's being sued by the collection of artists for destruction of their artwork.
Yeah, and they won.
And they won.
And I think that's bullshit.
How so?
That he has to pay.
He gave them permission, and without prior notification, completely destroyed their work.
And the stupid amount of money that they got out of that settlement is ridiculous.
Well, I can agree with you on the stupid amount of money.
I mean,
but it's a McDonald's situation.
Yeah, exactly. It's, someone spilled their hot coffee on their legs and they didn't know it was hot. So next time, someone who gives permission to the organization of Doctor Who taggers out there, which honestly, y'all got an organization, there's something wrong with you. But if you're taking time and the cost of paint, it ain't even gonna break over $200,000 freaking dollars. What's he paying? How many millions? That's ridiculous.
I think it's like 6.7 million. I think.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But speaking from an artist standpoint, art's not about just your cost of materials.
True.
Okay.
But it seems to be about that payday.
For a lot of modern artists, it is about the fucking payday. I mean, I've literally put blood, sweat, and tears into a lot of my artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And, the cost of materials aside, because they're bought, paid for, whatever. What kind of price tag can you put on your fucking soul for expressing your fucking soul to the world?
Sure, I get that, but at the same time, I look at this like a fucking squatter. You go on vacation, you come back, someone's living in your house, and you gotta go months before you can get them out. That's ridiculous. My property, I don't care if I gave someone permission. Get the fuck out. I can do whatever the fuck I want. That's that. But then you also brought up in that
that's a different situation.
But that's what I'm saying. Then you brought up into that how it was condemned and the city was going to take it anyway or something like that, or he was going to demolish it or some nonsense like that.
I mean, the building's been vacant for a decade at least.
That's where we hit the gray area where the only thing I'm siding with the dude on is the amount of stupid money that these people got from him. I do
agree with you on that. The amount of money paid out is fucking ludicrous.
Plus, it sets precedent that, honestly, people are going to absolutely abuse.
Right. But, I mean, as an artist, honestly, I'd have jumped on that fucking bandwagon too.
And I'll be completely honest with you. From a person who is not a tagger, who now knows that someone got $6 million for this stuff, y'all were criminals. I wouldn't pass you to do it again.
But at the same time, there's only so much money that you can make that you need to live off of. And if you were that passionate about your artwork and your artwork being seen by the community, I would take a chunk of that fucking money and put it back into the community.
You would. They're not going to.
Maybe as a collective, buy a building of their own and create their own graffiti mecca that can't be destroyed.
And yet none of them will.
And, like a living urban museum, literally.
They hit that lottery, dude. They're gone.
Exactly. That's where the principalities, and this is what I was talking about with, once you add a dollar sign into artwork, it takes your fucking soul away.
No.
I mean, as a starving artist myself, I've sold artwork and I will continue to sell artwork. I have pieces that I've done strictly for sale, but at the same time, I still put my soul into that, and the price tag that I put on them reflect that. And I don't know how to explain it any other way.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I agree with you. It's not the price of materials and the time. It's the same thing with my books. Yeah, they're on sale for this amount of freaking money. But my first book, I poured my heart and soul into that. I built an entire world from scratch, built characters from scratch. It's a beautiful world. I love every single one of these characters. Even whenever I kill them off, I can't fucking stand it. Sometimes I actually cry. I'm sorry I said that, and I feel like a little beta cuck. Anyway, but my point is that I absolutely get it, but not everyone is like you. And all I saw from this entire lawsuit bullshit situation is a bunch of people found a meal ticket.
It comes down to the mob mentality, because there was probably a lot of those artists, they were pissed off about it, but they weren't looking to rape this guy.
And yet they did.
But they were like, they got talked into it by these people that were like, yo, we should do this, we should do this, we should do this, we should do this, and take him for every fucking thing because he ruined all of our work. And it's like, oh, you know what? These 5 people think that, so maybe I should too.
Yeah, and you people should be ashamed of yourselves.
It's a mob mentality. But, I mean, a true artist would have taken their hit and recreated.
A true artist will find his canvas no matter where it is.
Exactly.
Instead, these artists claimed the canvas and then demanded payment that was not rightfully theirs.
To an extent.
Yes, to an extent. I'll give you that one.
Yes, they should have been entitled to compensation. They should have at least been given notification. At minimum, they should have been given notification that it was going to be covered.
Yeah, I'm not in any way siding with that dude. From what I've read, he kind of asked for this, honestly. He did some shady shit to make all this shit happen to begin with. But I cannot agree with the courts saying this amount of money. There's no excuse for that. It's ridiculous. It's the same thing with, remember when Britney Spears and that baby maker, what's his name? He always wore a wife beater shirt. He got her pregnant.
Federline.
Yeah. And then Britney went insane. And he got custody of the kid. And she pays like $30-some thousand a month in child support payments for one kid. That's no. That's ridiculous. It doesn't matter if she's a freaking billionaire. You nor her are entitled to that amount of money, and I can't believe a court actually allowed that.
That's our judicial system for you.
But that's my point. I completely agree with you, or I honestly believe that it should not be a crime to tag. And if it is a crime, the worst that should ever happen is a fine. No fingerprints, no freaking shit on a database, nothing like that. Hey, dude, seriously, license, registry, or give me your freaking ID. I'm putting your name here. This is for a ticket. You did something bad, and it cost the amount of paint.
Community service to cover it up.
Yeah. And that should be it. But when it comes to this thing, the only thing I'm siding with that guy with is the stupid amount of money that the court said was allowable in this situation. I find that ridiculous. I don't care how beautiful, magnificent, I don't care if fucking Mona Lisa was put there and fucking Vinci did shit himself. No. $6-some-odd million for tagging? No. Sorry. I can still agree with you. The heart and soul and everything.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can't put a price tag on that.
Right.
Honestly, you can't. As an artist, you cannot put a price tag on your soul.
Yeah.
And if you can put a fucking price tag on your soul, then you're not a fucking true artist.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. As far as the criminality of it, I do agree with you on that. I don't feel that private property should be defaced.
Right.
And in the case of public defacement, community service and a fine would be sufficient to cover the criminality.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something that's tastefully done and accepted by the community in general,
Mm-hmm.
I think that criminality should be thrown out.
I don't think there should be criminality. It shouldn't even be considered a misdemeanor or whatever. It should be a literal citation. Nothing more. I don't even think community service should be enacted. All they need to do is tally up what it will cost someone to cover it up. That's the citation. That's the bill.
But then you get into the area of these fucking painting companies that charge you an exorbitant fucking amount of money to paint a fucking wall. Like, I shit you not, there are fucking handymen here in PA that charge you $700 fucking dollars to paint one room.
Well, it's the government. They forced everybody to the lowest bidder to begin with.
You know, it's like, Jesus Christ, dude, you're painting a fucking room. It's going to take you 3 hours tops.
Then fine, have the medium average.
Even that, it's fucking ridiculous. Your average tagger lives in his parents' fucking basement, works at fucking McDonald's, if they even have a fucking job. Have the person that committed the crime do the fucking work to cover it up. They pay the cost of the fucking paint. Boom.
Problem solved.
Instead of hitting them with a fucking fine for $1,700 fucking dollars,
I can agree with that.
you charge them $60 fucking dollars for the cost of the fucking paint and have them do it.
Okay.
It makes sense to me.
That actually makes sense to me.
You throw out the criminal fucking element of it, you know, and it goes back to your whole your weed smoking thing, where it's like people are like going out of their way to do something criminal that isn't really criminal.
Right. Just so that way you can be on the right side of the law, you're going to be stupid. Like, actually stupid. You got to come up with every single excuse known to man to do something illegal that you honestly shouldn't give a shit about to begin with. Because they're not in the right. They've never been in the right. And at some point, it's all going to be legalized. And as far as I'm concerned, the moment that happens, every single person who's in jail for weed, just weed, should be let out. Even if they're piece of shits, sperm donors.
I can't wholly disagree with you on that.
My thing has always been criminality on a massive scale. Like we were discussing with the shootings in one of the previous segments where, you know, you get into a fight in school nowadays, you're going to jail. But yet when we got into fights...
whether there's a weapon involved or not.
Yeah, yet whenever we got into fights when we were in school, we went to the principal's office, we were literally sat down right beside the person we were fighting. And odds are you were calmed the fuck down, and then you started talking and actually becoming friends. Or at least a respect was made.
Well, hell, actually, in elementary school, I
never shared my chocolate milk.
I witnessed a guy get his ass beat with a bike chain. And a week later, these two guys are having lunch together.
Yeah.
You know, it's like neither one of them wound up in jail. You know, dude had some fucking nasty chain marks for a while, but he didn't die. These guys, I think, are friends to this date. You know, it's just one of those things. We got that fucking aggression out of the way. It's like nobody has that way to vent anymore. It's like you got to let it build up to a point where you go ape shit with an M16.
Yeah, and I look at it the same way when you're speaking of venting, I imagine that's exactly what you do as a tagger. You're
Yeah.
venting.
Yeah.
You're letting that
in a sense.
frustration from society that tells you to conform to do what they want you to do. And you're like, you know what? No, fuck you. In fact, I'm actually going to write that. Fuck you. Have a nice day. Sneak away with a little giggle as the cops drive by.
I mean, honestly, some of the best graffiti pieces I've ever seen were anti-government pieces.
Yeah.
Anti-government propaganda graffiti pieces are some of the most beautiful pieces I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah. Whether you agree or disagree with it, shit makes you think.
It does.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, I view that as art. That's my subjective viewpoint on it.
Right.
But when Chico tells me that Chico is here, that's...
I mean, that's some shit you scribble on a bathroom stall door.
And yet Chico has been all over the freaking Freightliners that come through here.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I don't know who you are, Chico, but fuck you.
But, I mean, my whole point with this conversation is just getting inside the mind of a non-artist to see where the views of criminality in graffiti is. I mean, there's, I know for a while there, I'm pretty sure it's still active, but there was a site called artcrimes.com that cataloged graffiti throughout the world. And I mean, I've literally spent hours upon hours just paging through that shit going, I need to go there and see that fucking piece myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've found myself walking the streets of Philly looking for certain pieces and never finding them. Why? Because they were covered up by some douchebag or they were whitewashed.
I think there shouldn't be criminality. Like I said, that should be a citation, community service to clean it up only, not community service, just to clean it the fuck up.
Yeah, I've been down that route, and cleaning out dog pens at the Humane Society was not fun.
It's ridiculous. And I also think the police
Rottweiler
officers
bit me in the ass. It was bad.
I think a police officer's response to petty crime is completely out of control as well.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Just
like I said, I can't disagree with you on that. But I mean, honestly, like I mean, just even wrapping up this conversation, there is an extent to which you could call graffiti criminality, but for the most part, I think it's an expression.
There will always be outlaws in society. There will always be taggers. There will always be people blaring their music in their vehicles, screeching their tires, driving down the street at 2 in the morning. It's who we are.
Right.
Every single person has one time in their life said, you know what, fuck the rules. Even the nerdiest of nerds, the goodiest of goods. We all do that one thing and we're like, yeah, no, fuck them.
But you know what? It was a good fucking story to tell.
Yeah. So what'd you get out of me? After all this that you're doing, what's your take on it from a non-artist perspective?
I mean, I liked a lot of what you had to say. I can't disagree with a lot of what you had to say. As far as the criminal element of it, and the fact that you can see the art in graffiti gives a sense of it's not always black or white. It's not just art and it's not criminal. that there is that gray area that you can live within as a functioning member of society.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you could walk down the street and see a piece of graffiti on a bridge, and it's not going to change your fucking life one way or another. It's not affecting you being there.
I always look at stuff like that and I'm like, how the fuck did they get up there?
And that's the fun part of being a graffiti artist.
The puzzle solving.
They're the hardest ones to cover up. So you look for the most extreme situations.
Yeah.
So that it's harder for somebody to either cover it or for the city to cover over it.
Right.
And like my dream as a tagger, and it's really fucking odd, but the Dock Street Dam, right off of Cameron Street here in Harrisburg, there is a bridge pillar for 83 that you literally have to cross the most dangerous section of the dam, right where the rapids and the whirlpool are. There is no safe way to get the fuck across that. But if I could find a way to fucking Spider-Man over to that fucking wall and tag that fucking wall, I so would. Because I don't think anybody else would have the fucking balls to go over there and cover it.
Right.
And
it's like the Harrisburg walking bridge, the one that half of it got destroyed and the other half. I used to see shit all the time underneath of it. I was always curious how these people got down
there. Dude, you find a way.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it at that because we can't give all secrets out. But you find a way. And taggers are like potheads. In extreme situations, you get fucking creative and you become fucking MacGyver.
Yeah.
And do you know what? It shows fucking true genius in a degenerate culture. It really does.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Because all of a sudden you become like a fucking mountain climber and repeller.
Yeah, fucking stoner looks down and is like, hey, look, there's an apple. I know what I'm going to do with that. You know?
It's like you become a fucking engineer.
Yeah, a fucking architect that can build fucking gravity bongs out of nothing.
Yeah, like working in the trucking industry, I've literally walked through the parts room and went, I can use that, to build a fucking... And I have. But, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment at the end. You're fucking proud of that shit.
Yeah.
And just like I said, there just like any other piece of art, a graffiti artist, there's a sense of accomplishment when you get done with a piece. And in an extreme situation, like the underside of a fucking bridge or the very top of a fucking building, you get more of a sense of fucking.
Well, I can actually understand that. Hypothetically, if I were in my teen years and I were to have broken into a building that was a business and I stole something from them, but before I left, I stole their security system and took that home with me, I would have been absolutely proud of that moment.
Well, yeah, because you just basically... That's like breaking into a Beware of Dog house and taking the fucking dog with you.
Yeah. But like that high that I would have gotten hypothetically was it. It was everything. And then you start realizing you're not really doing it to steal. You're doing it to see if you can do it.
Yeah, and there is a sense of accomplishment that comes with it.
On that, I think I could actually come together with a tagger on is the ability to do, like you said, that you got to find that outrageous place that it's going to be almost impossible for them to fucking just absolutely try and they ain't going to do it no matter what. So
fuck it. It's fine where it's at.
So at that point, your brain's thinking, okay, I already know what I'm going to put on there, but honestly, the accomplishment is getting there. That's
Well, yeah,
the best
yeah,
fucking part of it all.
and I mean that adds to the artistry of it,
Man.
is because I mean you went to such extremes to get to a point that was literally untouchable.
Yeah.
To put your piece for the whole world to fucking see, and you accomplished it. There is a sense of fucking accomplishment there.
Mm-hmm. See, I look at it. I really do look at it. It's just simply a counterculture. Absolute. We don't want to be like you. This is our way of showing beauty to the world. Because all you have is stale buildings with glass and steel. Brick and mortar, nothing more.
Right.
And on that, I'll absolutely side with Taggers on, which is there's absolute beauty in spray paint on a wall.
That's basically what I was looking for. That's the fact that a non-artist can share that art appreciation.
Absolutely.
Is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You appreciate it for what it is, not the criminal element behind it.
Yeah. Think we're good?
I think we're good on this.
All right.
I'm going to have fun writing this article, though, because so, yes, the first issue of the Septenary Strain should be out within next 2 weeks at most. This interview will be included in a link in the following issue. So read the article, check it out, hop over here and check this out, and see what you think. Let us know. Thoughts and opinions, artists and non-artists alike. I want to know. I want to know.
Yeah, the graffiti thing, I'm actually interested in what everybody else has to say. Because I might be a bit biased, honestly.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
But keep an eye for the Septenary Strain. Be available on our website. The website address will be available as soon as everything is up and functioning. Until then, it is under construction, but plan to see more from Hela 7 Development.
Take care, everybody.
Have a great night, and thanks for listening.